Laughing Vikings Live. High vibe chats with actors, comedians, and creators, plus stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, and most importantly, you. That's right, join us every Monday for new episodes, and you can be a part of the show on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. Ask questions and interact in the comments, and make sure to share this with your actor, comedian, and creator friends so they can be a part of the show too. Can't make a live show? No problem. You can catch up on your favorite podcast platform and visit laughingvikings.com to find out how you can join the cast and crew. All right, it's time for today's show. Buckle up and make sure you stick around to the end because we have a special surprise for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Laughing Vikings Live. Happy Monday Fun Day. Let's go. Hey. Episode 51. We got 50 under our belt last week. If you listened or you were live with us last week, you saw me shed so many tears. It was very, very emotional. I don't know if we're going to get it as emotional as we did last week. This is also episode 1 of what we're calling season 2, where we're going to shift into more expertise. We're going to have all kinds of people on to share their expertise, from directors, producers, casting directors, agents, musical directors, Shakespeare experts, stunt experts, gun experts, everything you could possibly want to know as an actor, how to up-level your career. That's the focus of season 2 here, starting with today's guest who we'll introduce. But first, we got to introduce the one and only BK Broiler, Fort Knox himself, Brandon Knox. How you doing, Brandon?
I am doing fantastic, Lars. It has been a great day. I am so excited to kick off season 2, talking with all these people, lining up all these guests. It has been an exciting weekend. I've had a blast.
Yeah. We had a hell of a weekend here at Comedy Alley, as you can see behind me. We had on Saturday, we had a full official sold out show. Friday was very close to being a sellout as well. But when we put those two together, I would say that was our most successful weekend here in Comedy Alley. Great audiences. All the stand-ups were amazing. And also Thursday, we had ladies' night as well. So we actually had back-to-back great shows. The trifecta, the Comedy Alley three-peat. So really excited about that. And we're going to continue it. Right now, we've got shows booked all the way through to the end of October right now, culminating hopefully to a Halloween bash on Saturday the 31st, a stand-up / Halloween show out in the alley. And who knows, if the weather cooperates, maybe we'll continue past then. But if you want to join us again this weekend, go to laughingvikings.com /comedy alley. The tickets, I'm going to tell you, they are going like hotcakes. I don't know if anything moves faster than cakes that are hot, but people love hot cakes. People love hot cakes. Nobody's buying cold cakes, but people love hot cakes just like they love our tickets. So make sure you reserve in advance. You can try to show up at the door, but when I say try, do or do not. There is no try. Listen to Yoda and just reserve. Yoda says, do or do not. Reserve tickets online. There is no try. So don't try to show up in person. Just buy them in advance. If you've got a large group, maybe you got a family group, maybe you got a work group, family reunion, corporate kind of thing, maybe just you and 10 of your random friends want to come out. We have what we call the 10-pack birthday special. But we did have a family take advantage of that this weekend, and there was not a birthday in the house. They were just like, you know what? We want a hell of a family gathering. So they bought 10 tickets and came out. That's the best bet. That's also the best deal too. But there are only 20 seats. So get on it right now. We've got the calendar up for the next couple weeks already in advance. You can see the comics. So reserve those tickets before we sell out at laughingvikings.com /comedy alley. And I'm just going to put it out there. If you haven't been here, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Especially if you're watching this every week, if you're watching us talk about Comedy Alley every week, but you haven't come and see it, you're missing out. And we do live stream them, but there is nothing like in-person, up close and personal live comedy in an intimate environment. It is just not the same. And I'm going to be honest, our live stream capability for these outdoor shows. The quality is not that great. So you want to be there in person so you can hear everything, you can see everything. No shaky camera, no fuzziness, none of that, unless you have eye problems or some kind of tremble scenario with your nervous system. But join us.
We got a couple commenters with James Tooby saying, I'm here. Where are you? Well, we're here.
He's there, but Jim Tooby, I have not seen you in Comedy Alley. We are waiting for you to be here live. And we got Joseph Simon. You want to throw his up there?
Yep.
Joseph Simon says, sup, buddy. The little, what's his name? What was that guy's name? Buddy. What's that guy's name? 80s and 90s. Pauly Shore. Buddy. Sup, buddy. What's up with you, Joseph Simon? As always, when you're watching this live, feel free to ask us any Laughing Vikings questions regarding self-tape audition sessions in the studio or Comedy Alley tickets. And once we bring the guests on, if you have any extra questions for the guests that you want us to dig a little deeper into, be sure to ask those as well. This is an interactive show, and you're part of it. If your entire life you were like, oh, if only I could be on a podcast, I want to start my podcast. You don't even have to start your own podcast. We have a podcast, and you can just hop on ours. Like Joseph Simon, James Tooby, you're mentioned like in every, probably Tooby's in
almost
like
almost everyone.
I feel like he's 50% of our podcast. We mention the Tubinator. So he's a star. You can just become a star on someone else's podcast. It's a lot like the Letterman show when they used to always have those weird characters. Like he'd go down and talk to the guy in the pizza shop or like a cab driver. We've got all our wacky bunch of characters here. So join us every week. Make sure you subscribe too. Also, if you haven't subscribed, we're on all the podcast platforms, wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe now and share this out. If you want to be the cool person in your group and the person that helps your other actor and comedian buddies by giving them the recommendation of a fucking lifetime that will change their life, share this, including this broadcast right now. You're watching from somewhere. You're probably watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch. Take 3 seconds, share it out, tag some friends. And when you do share, we often dish out some prizes, maybe some tickets, maybe some swag, maybe a Laughing Vikings button. Where is it? Right here. We got it right here. So do all those things. What I'm saying is if you're already on board this far, just go deeper. You don't hang up you don't want to hang out in the cheap seats way up in the balcony. Get down here to the front row every fucking day and be a part of it. And next thing you know, who knows? Maybe you'll be a co-host or a producer or director, or you'll be on the roster. You'll be on the payroll even.
James Tooby says 50% of the time I'm watching 100% of the time, and we appreciate that, and we love you, James.
60% of the time it works every time. All right, we have another banger of an episode. This may be, I'd have to look back, I think this is our first repeat guest. He was way back in episode 14.
Yeah,
in episode 14, you can scroll back, and that was a special episode because we did maybe 3 to 5 episodes. I did them in 1 week right at the beginning of lockdown, kind of like in a little bit of a panic. I was like, oh, what the fuck are we going to do? It's lockdown. We can't do anything. I guess I can go live and have lunch with my friends over Zoom. So that's what we did. We called a handful of episodes Lunch with Luna and Lars. It was right at the beginning of lockdown where this was all very foreign. Now we're all lockdown veterans. We're all lockdown and quarantine pros. We know exactly what's up. But at the beginning, it was scary. We didn't know what was going on. So this guy came on. He was nice enough to hop on an episode via Zoom back then. Here we are. And we're going to give him a little video intro.
Yes,
first.
we are.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Cue the intro. Roll the clip. Woo-wee. Don't fuck with that guy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, excited to bring on our first repeat guest. He's an actor, he's a writer, director, producer, filmmaker, stuntman. He's an author of a new book, how to make it from a no to whoa budget. He's got another book coming out that we're going to talk about called Zero to Hero. He's also the co-creator of the movie Expo, which is an amazing event, all related to all aspects of movie making. And he's also known as the nicest guy on set. And you're going to get to meet him today. Please give it up for Taz Garcia.
Woo!
There he is.
Yeah. What is going on?
Nice. Good to see you. Love your backdrop there, too. You got a lot going on there. All the kinds of memorabilia.
Yep. The kid that never left.
What's your favorite thing? Grab something from back there and tell us what it is. It's hard to see them all.
Oh,
I see.
Oh, Leonardo. Woo!
There it is.
God, I love it.
My favorite. Yeah.
Is that from the third movie or this? Is that from one of the cartoons?
No, that's from the movies.
Nice.
The very first ones. Yeah.
Very first one in the 80s. Yeah.
Yep. Old school.
So well done. So well done.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, good to see you, Taz. Your everything is good, I see. Yes?
Yes, sir. Everything's great. Great. I'm alive and well, and I'm here with a bunch of super cool dudes, extra creative, lots of positive vibes. Let's do this.
Nice. Last time I saw you in person, we enjoyed burgers from Riverside Burgers together.
Mm-hmm.
But I sort of feel like I see you every day because we have each other on Instagram. So I see your meals, I see your workouts, I see what you're doing in all your movies. So I never feel too disconnected from my movie and filmmaker friends, thanks to social media. But it is nice to see you live and in person right now.
Yes. And we're going to make it an actual in-person thing again, maybe over another round of burgers and onion rings.
And you have a standing ticket here at Comedy Alley because a while back to support, you actually bought a ticket, but you weren't able to come that night. So we have reserved a chair. Since you bought that ticket like 6 weeks ago, I have let no one sit in that. There's a big, it's like a fancy director's chair. It says Taz Garcia in it. And every week I'm yelling at people, get out of Taz's chair. And it's still there vacant, just waiting for you. So you're welcome anytime.
This weekend, that's what he did all weekend.
Amazing.
Brandon, get out of Taz's chair.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So we're gonna start off like we start every episode off here, and that is with 1 minute life story. Now you're the first person to ever get to do this twice, so then we're gonna have fun comparing your life story a year ago to your life story now. But this is where you get 60 seconds. Brandon's got the clock up. It's going to, does it go from 0 to 60? That counts up, not a countdown. It's going to be a count up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Taz Garcia's life story in 1 minute.
And here we go. Young kid, huge dreams. Went the academic route, got school done, out of the way, lived through war. Traveled around at least 20 different countries, pursued professional sports, did the corporate thing, became a teacher at school, created an ESL program for China. Fast forward many years, I'm finally sitting and able to do what I love, which is being in the entertainment industry, entertaining the millions and millions of people out there as a filmmaker, as a performer, as somebody who just loves using the platform to connect with people, regardless of any barriers that could vary from language, religion, ethnicity, whatever it is. Entertainment can connect us, and it's something that we need, especially in times like where we're at right now with the pandemic. Without it, would be completely sad and bored. The end.
Boom.
Solid. And I gotta hand it to you, and I'm gonna give you credit. I think both life stories started out with similar, where it was started out as a kid, big dreams. So that was great. Yes. So it would have been weird if none of it matched, and you're like, who is this guy? This isn't the same Taz from the last time.
Yeah, right. I mean, it would have been pretty odd if I said big kid, small dreams, right? So
Right.
even though, here's a true story, I am still a huge kid. So, I mean, huge kid, toys all around me.
Yeah, toys,
So,
toys, and half
yeah,
of your
it's
Instagram
fun.
is you. Half of your Instagram is you dressed up as superheroes as well too. So yeah,
Mhm.
Right.
I, I,
Yeah.
th- I think I think that's similar to the three of us here. All of us are big man boys.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think actors ever really grow out of that. And I think that's the most beautiful thing of all, is that we
Yeah.
all we really got into this because we're all nerds in some sort of category. And like that's what makes it so beautiful, is because it's all like the Peter Pan effect, right? Where you never want to grow up and you just want to live in Neverland forever.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I really don't think there's anyone that grows up. It's just they're forced to act that way. We as performers, we're like, nope, we're embracing this. This is who I am. Take me or leave me. I'll dress up as a chicken. I'll dress up as a I don't know, Pillsbury Dough dude, whatever it is. I'm good. I'm good. Right?
Yeah.
People laugh at it. They're like, come on, aren't you too old for this kind of stuff? I'm like, yeah, it's subjective, right?
Right, right. Oh, what happened? We lost him. We're gonna wait for him. We'll wait for him to pop back on.
Yeah. Already such a positive person. I just love his vibe. He's always so just ready and willing and just loves to joke around. And I really like that about Taz. Even editing his first episode 14, like that came across so beautifully. And we have him back.
There he is.
Super random, 3 calls all at once. I didn't even know that was possible. So
he's cutting deals in the middle of a podcast, and he's signing deals, making movies, selling scripts, green lighting books, green lighting movies. He doesn't stop.
You know the deal. Yes. So,
Taz, for those who don't know you or haven't met you or maybe hadn't listened to the original episode, tell us, what was your very first performance? Could have been as a kid, amateur, but what was your very first time on stage or in a play or any type of performance? How did you start?
I'll give you the official and unofficial. I think I started off in a living room somewhere. I just barged in right in front of my entire family, and I reenacted this entire scene of one of my favorite shows that was playing. That was the unofficial. The official one was part of an assembly back in school, and I was playing Anubis, who was the god of balance. And I guess in the afterlife, he's the guy that decided if he would go get devoured or make it to the afterlife, aka heaven or paradise in the ancient Egyptian worlds. And I still remember my lines since that day. It was great. It was awesome. So,
what were your lines?
Do you have a line for us? A quotable quote?
Yeah. One of them was actually about John Carter, who came in. He was one of the explorers that was looking through the tombs, and I was like, "Oh, is this man pure? Bring him to me, and bring his heart. I shall put it up against a feather, and see which one outweighs the other." Yeah, at a little scale where literally, thinking to myself, I was like, "Okay, so literally, you've got a feather and you've got a heart." And you put on a scale, and most of the time it was like boom to the devourer. There was this I think it was half alligator, half lion. That was their fate. It was game over. Yeah, good times, great times, not violent at all.
Side note, I'm very impressed with your memory there. My memory, I got like a goldfish 72 hours kind of thing. Like before the weekend, it's all fuzzy now. And you remembered all the way back to your childhood. So I'm impressed.
Yeah. Good times.
And so then moving forward from there, you said there was the living room, then it was the school assembly. By the way, my first acting deal was also a school thing. Grade 8 was Grease. I played Kinnicky and got to sing the Grease Lightning song. Brandon, what was yours again?
Mine was also Grease, but I was in the chorus.
Gotcha. So you were one of my T-birds. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I did that dance.
Go, grease lightning, you're burning up the quarter mile. Grease lightning, go, grease lightning.
Look at that harmony going on already.
Right?
Oh,
Still
yeah.
got it. So go ahead.
So Taz, we've talked about your very first performance. Can you talk about your very first paid gig?
Ooh, my very first paid gig was Let the Games Begin. And it was a documentary, one of those reenactments, and they were talking about the Greek Olympics way back. And we were in togas and the whole 9 yards.
Nice. And like, was it the very first Olympics? Like that's what they were setting up?
Yeah. So they were basically talking about way back, way back when still the very first Olympics, what it was, what sports were in there, what were the uniforms, whatever cloth was considered as a uniform. yeah, good times. Good times. That was definitely my I consider that my first official paid gig.
Was the first Olympics in Rome or was it in Greece?
You know what? That's a very good question. Athens. So
I believe that's Rome. Is it not?
Greece.
It's Greek? Oh, at Greek. Yeah. Athens. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Olympics are Greek.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Perfect. I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
We have we won't bring the comments on, but we have our first super spammer. It looks like his name is some kind of, I want to say, Asian sort of symbols. His profile picture is Hitler, and everything he said is one-word swear words right now. So, way to go, whoever you are. Good work. You're doing great work. Congrats on your life right now.
We need that.
We're not going to dignify that with any more, but we're getting bombarded in the side comments here, but no one will see those ever. So
so sucks to be you.
That was nice. That was nice though.
So let's get into the conversation, Lars. So we both read How to Make It from No to a Woe Budget, which I found fantastic. It was such a lovely read. Very well done, Taz. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
So, Lars, do you have anything to start us off with the book?
Yeah, well, first thing is kudos to you for putting a book out there. Did you self-publish it?
Yeah, so with this one, I self-published it. I went through a bunch of different agencies and publishers and agents, and really it just made complete sense to try self-publishing. Everything's become very independent. I was like, let's give it a go. Why not? And it worked out.
Yeah. And in the spirit of DIYing it and not waiting for gatekeepers to give you the green light to do stuff, we live in a world where whether it's making a TV show or doing comedy or doing a live stream, doing a podcast, writing a book, all of that is at our disposal now. We all have a global market that we can reach with the touch of a button and almost zero barriers, assuming you have a phone and or any kind of computer. So kudos to you for putting it out. Brandon and I just picked one section from it that maybe we could discuss. And the one thing that popped out to me for actors is the idea of rehearsals for TV and film. And the interesting thing is they're almost non-existent for TV. Like there's rare that you would get rehearsals beforehand, like before showing up. You might get a couple camera rehearsals on the day. And even in film, often it's just not in the budget, unfortunately, even though in my opinion, an hour or two of rehearsal could save you half a day or more than that on set. So do you want to just maybe chat and just kind of address the importance of rehearsals in TV and film, especially at the indie level, which is sort of what we're talking about here? Absolutely.
Rehearsal is not one of those things that people should kind of put on a back burner at all. It will save you money. It will save you time. It will save you stress. It will save performers and everyone else probably a panic attack, especially if it's your first production. But at the same time, it's one of those things where people can say, "Oh, we got lucky. It was smooth." Part of being successful is preparation, right? And that's ultimately one of the things that most of the creators know now. Once they're past their first and second projects, they're very familiar with the process of being ready and being rehearsed and ready to go and perform and do their best. But it's the same thing for performers, right? Where we're always expected, okay, well, I'm going to do a dry run, a table read, a rehearsal. I'll get a chance to warm up. But sometimes it's go time. You got to be ready, right? So part of rehearsing actually starts all the way back before you get the part, which is you got to be ready. You got to be prepped. When you get called in, you don't need time to prep. You're ready to perform for your audition. And then you got to sharpen your tools, polish yourself up again. So when you're actually called for the real thing, you're ready to go and perform your best once again. And that means you have more time to pay attention to your character, your performance. How can you spice it up? How can you deliver different performances for your team and for the directors, right? So it's the same thing, and it goes exactly the same for the creators or the filmmakers and directors and producers, right? When you're ready, you know exactly what I'm going to do, what I'm going to shoot, what's the next shot for us, who's needed here, where we're going to be, what equipment should be there. It becomes very systematic. And even though, yes, there are curveballs, and yes, there are times that could be completely variable and out of our hands, but at least when you're prepared, instead of having 10 surprises, you might have 2. So that way, you're a lot less stressed, right? So preparation, huge thing. And then action, I'm going to open up that side too. Action, it's huge for that. You never want to just go in on an assumption and saying, oh yeah, that's really easy. And then you show up and all of a sudden, the location is tighter, or you don't have as much space, or someone's injured or taller than you thought they would be. So now all of a sudden your entire moves are out the window. You got to come up with something entirely new. So once again, you got to be prepared. You got to be rehearsed mentally, physically, emotionally. And when you show up, you're ready to perform, whether it's acting or action.
Love it. Thank you. And one of our acting coaches, Tom Todoroff, in their conservatory and their weekly workshops, always talks about the importance of rehearsal. And some of his insights are we rehearse slowly to later perform swiftly. That really applies to stunt stuff, because you can end up injuring / killing yourself or someone else if you're not going like you go at quarter speed, then half speed, then 3/4, and then eventually get it up to close to 100%. The other thing that he talks about is you've heard it over the years coming from Laurence Olivier. I think the number was saying your lines 250 times before you either get to stage or on set. Michael Caine talked about 1,000 was his number. So just drilling that stuff into you so that it's like in your bones and in your blood. And then also that, as you mentioned, that sheds any nerves or helps, because you're so confident and you're so rock solid in it that you're not going to have any feeling of anxiety or nerves. You're going to be excited because you've prepped for this moment. So yeah, it's great. Anything you want to add there, Brandon?
Yeah, what I really loved about the book, Taz, was the fact that you add in what I did into each chapter, and also hints about how you went around doing certain things. And what chapter really stuck out to me was sound and the importance of sound. And I kind of want to take a more deep dive into the story you talk about in the book about your very first shoot. And you were so focused on the lenses and the camera and making sure that was all perfect and the actors were ready, that sound was sort of a secondary thing that didn't get looked at as much. And then you had a sequence where you had rain in one of your scenes, and you found that the tape or the scene were unusable. I just sort of want to go into a deep dive of the methods that you went to determine that scene was unusable and you had to go back and do reshoots on it. So what sort of methods did you do to try and save the footage?
So it's one of the things that I'll take you where we fell, and then I'll take you kind of how we went over that bump. Is obviously there was a lot of run and gun. When you have that, you don't always have the luxury to stop and okay, playback. Okay, cool, let's do it again. It's kind of like okay, boom, 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 let's go, 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 and let's move on to the next spot, next location, next scene, whatever it is. But when we got a chance to finally go back later on and review the footage, our dailies basically, we're like, oh my god, one of the scenes, it was raining and all you hear is just rain and rain and rain, and then we heard in the back, and then we heard birds and insects all around us. We're like, oh my god. So fast forward that 17 months later, because we were working according to everyone's schedule. I had 120 people on board in my first project, and it was all voluntary. So for us, it was one of those things where we're like, okay, cool. You work 9 to 5, he works 8 to 6, and someone from 4 to 10. So we had to continue pushing and pushing and doing whatever we could to make the scene work and cheat it, however. But then we'd go back and we'd play it back, and we're like, oh my god, this sound is horrible. So eventually we have all the scenes to complete our movie, to edit it from A to Z all the way through. But then the sound is ridiculous, and we're like, oh my god. So we can dub the entire thing, we can do ADR, we can dub the entire thing in Chinese or Tamil or something else and make sense of it that way, or we could just toss it out, dump the entire project. And hold on a second, we also have this kid. When we shot the movie, she was 9, and now she's 18, so she sounds different. What are we gonna do, right? And everyone's like, oh, why? You know what? You don't need this stuff. It was your first one. Just toss it out. Done. And I was like, nope. And the workaround that was one of two things. We're going in the studio, ADR the entire thing, or we were gonna make it like a Mayday. And because it's based on a true story, we were going to have a few of the characters come back and have a little narrative, basically. So it's narrators that will come in and say, oh my god, it was such a scary time. This happened, this happened, this happened. And then meanwhile, you've got the playback. So it kind of fills in the gaps. And maybe you'll hear some screaming, maybe you'll hear whatever. It puts you in the scene a lot more, because now it becomes a lot more realistic than it being stylized and more movie-esque in that sense. And that was kind of the workaround. But lesson learned.
Yeah.
Listen, ask 20 new filmmakers right now. The number one thing they're going to say is, what camera are you using? What lens are you using? What do you think? Sony or Canon? Canon or Nikon? Or this or that? Blackmagic? Or it's never, which one's a better mic? Is it Asden or is it Rode or is it this? Or, right?
Yeah.
It's always like, so often it sound like you it's so hard to fix it if you don't have proper sound as well. And people will tolerate the shot being off or the frame being off or even focus being off, but people can't tolerate out of sync sound or fuzzy sound or crackle. It's just, it doesn't fly. Also, too, one thing that sort of came up with me as you were mentioning that is just the idea that films especially are actually written 3 times. They say it's written once by the screenplay writer when you have the script, then it's rewritten during the shoot because things change, locations fall through, you run out of daylight, you run out of a battery, you lose a card, maybe you lose an actor and have to cut a scene. You might realize that an actor isn't cutting it, so you cut a scene because of that. And then after all of your principal shooting, then it's rewritten a 3rd time in the editing room where an editor has to try and make sense of this. And sometimes you realize you didn't get everything that you needed to tell the initial story. So now you sort of got to rewrite the story in the editing bay. So just the process of filmmaking is such a beast to get it all together. Like, kudos to anyone out there, yourself included, Taz, who's A, written a script, because most people never get to that part, but then B, finish filming it, and then C, to actually finish it in an edit and release a a final product. Like, it's such a rare thing and such a massive undertaking that it's just like, it's pretty epic. So that then if you take it to the next level of getting to the point where you're winning awards for films and you're receiving accolades for it, that's such a rare breed, because there's just so many ways that it can turn out terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, honestly, the best film school is going out there and creating your stuff. That's the best thing, right? You go out there, you're going to fall, you're going to trip, you're going to make your mistakes, you're going to learn. Make it better the second time. Pay attention to this, your second and your third project. And it gets better, and it gets easier. And then you start challenging yourself. You're like, okay, well, I was really scared. I couldn't trust myself or my team the first time around. Now I know what to do, and we can push the envelope that much more the second round, right? So absolutely so. It is a beast, but it's one that can be tamed if you understand how to.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it puts you in the driver's seat of your career, right? Because now you're not waiting for the phone to ring or an email to come through that you have an audition to get permission to act. You are now setting things up and going out and doing things. And if you get an audition that day, perfect. That's awesome. But I also have something else that I'm working on.
Absolutely. And I think now it's gotten a lot more competitive. And now people are realizing that I'm sick of waiting. I've got these tools. I've got these platforms, whether it's social media or whether an online festival or streaming platforms, and they're just jumping on it. They're attacking it, which is really cool. It's exactly what should happen. When you go back and you look at a lot of the stars, including Jackie Chan, Stallone, a lot of those people, they carved their own paths themselves because they came out and people are like, okay, well, what are you about? Or no, I have somebody else that does that already. Or you're unknown, so we'll take your idea and use a different actor. And they said, no, I got to believe in myself. But this is ultimately one of the biggest things that I continuously share when I go and have my talks with new students is you have to be the one that makes the first leap and take the first investment in yourself. Because if I don't trust myself, if I don't believe in myself, I'm going to come up to you and say, hey, you should believe in me. Really? No, it's not going to happen, right? So ultimately, you got to say, listen, I'm the first in line. I'm going to be the first person to attack this obstacle. Are you with me? It's not like, hey, there's an obstacle. Would you like to attack it? And I'll be here cheering on the side, right? Yeah. The other way around. And when people see that and they see your hunger, they want to support you. And it's super, super cool to see a lot of people creating projects and going for it. Short films, feature films, documentaries, web series. Get your feet wet. It's the best.
Right. Yeah, and it's about momentum too. It's no one wants to jump on board a train that's not moving, but when they see what you're doing and you've got this project and it's full steam ahead, and you don't, quote unquote, need them to make it happen, then they're just like, oh, well, what can I do to help? You seem like you're going somewhere really cool. People also love people with visions, and directors and filmmakers and producers are certainly people of vision. So the more you put that out there and the more you start it yourself, rather than waiting for someone to greenlight your own project, when you start that process, and we've seen that here at Laughing Vikings or Comedy Alley, it's just start it yourself. And eventually the universe will align, and the resources and people will want to hop on board because they see that, oh shit, this guy's really doing some cool stuff. I like where he's going. I want to hop on board. What can I do to help?
Right.
It's great.
Yeah.
Versus sitting at home waiting for an email to tell you that you got a job.
Or talking. That's the biggest evil. Right? Or just sitting here talking, I know so and yeah, I can make a movie. It's really easy. Oh yeah, I know how to do this. Show me.
Yeah.
Right?
Prove it. Yeah.
Action.
Yeah, there's a nice quote in the book here. It says, pick up a camera, shoot something, no matter how small, no matter how cheesy, you are now a director. And that was a quote from a guy who's done all right for himself. You might have heard of James Cameron. He's made a few decent sized movies. Yeah, probably
Canadian too.
Couple billion, 2, 3, 4, 5 billion, maybe, if you add up all of his films.
Yeah, born in London, Ontario.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So let's move this along. And this was a great conversation about No to Woe. And we'll make sure that we link up link to the Amazon page for the No to Woe budget. Please pick up your copy. So let's move over to Movie Expo, Taz. So you created this. How many years has it been going on, Taz?
You know, it's really funny because today marks the 3rd anniversary. Today is the first day that we actually had day 1 of Movie Expo 2019. So it was the first day was September the 20th. Lars, do you remember when you were there?
I was there.
Right?
I was setting up the very first Laughing Vikings booth in that giant pavilion down at the CNE.
That's right.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great event. Actually, one of our guests, either next week or the week after, Daniel Levinson from Rapier Wit, I met there, and I met several of the other venues and guest speakers, or several of the other vendors and guest speakers. He being one of them. I ended up taking a class at Rapier Wit in firearms handling too. So yeah, it was an incredible event, and it was an important time for Laughing Vikings just to get us out there to the community and connect with more actors and more filmmakers. So I was hugely grateful to be a part of that first one.
Yeah, and jumping on that, that's exactly the motto for the Movie Expos, to give the tremendous amount of talent and opportunities the city has. Basically, we created this platform for people to be seen and be heard, right? That's ultimately the biggest thing. As a writer, you want your work to be seen. As an actor or performer, whether stunt, singer, dancer, you want to be seen. You want to be given this opportunity. You want to be heard. And that's what we said. We looked at it. I've worked in Asia, I've worked in the US, I've worked all around the world. And then we came back here, and this is home. We looked at it. We said, hold on a second. You've got what? You've got conventions for equipment. You've got conventions for every entity by itself, every department by itself. Why are we so segregated, right? And then you have screening events like film festivals. And we said, yeah, but you have to have a team create something so you can showcase it, right? And oftentimes people will go to these events to try and schmooze and make connections and find a producer that might fund my next film. And we said, this is all cool. This is great. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a platform that solely focuses on that. We're going to highlight all the stars behind the scenes, the people that do the auditions, the people that do the wardrobe, the trainers that make the stars look their best, like a Thor or a Wolverine or Captain Marvel. We want those people to get their pat on the back too, right? Everyone will recognize Iron Man. Who's Iron Man? But who created the suit? Who ensures that the VFX is on point every single time? Right? Can you give me a name? Maybe, maybe not. Right? And that's ultimately the people we started bringing in and saying, listen, you were the creator of Black Panther. You were the DP of Gone in 60 Seconds. You were the co-composer for Titanic or Avatar. Everyone knows Avatar, right? And we really wanted to use this platform to give back and to inspire people and tell them, listen, come here, connect. You don't have to fly to Hollywood. We're going to bring Hollywood to you. You want Asia? We're going to bring that to you. You come here, you're going to start as one person, you're going to leave out as a different person, whether it's because you connected with a lot of like-minded people, or it's because you got a chance to actually, just like that quote you pulled with James, it's exactly that. We wanted people to meet or talk and pick the brains of these people just to make their journey a little smoother. So how did you do it? Because sometimes all we need, we're literally on the cusp of quitting, saying, okay, I've tried this for 6 months, I've tried this for 6 years, 16 years, I'm done. It's like this wall that's not going to give. And then you're going to talk to one of those pros that figured it out, and you're going to say, listen, I'm a writer. How did you do it? How is this your bread and butter right now? And sometimes it's just that little tweak of your formula. You almost had it perfect. And then you get it, and it gets you going that extra mile. And that's the motto. That's the essence of Movie Expo. And the first year was obviously we had a little bit of the showcasing as well. So we had people coming in, bringing their toys, and We had tanks there, we had guns there, we had cameras and gears and cranes, and it was something for the fans to enjoy. And actually, ironically, a lot of the people that do the casting and producing have never seen any of this equipment because they produce from behind a desk or they cast from behind a camera, but they're never on set. So it was really cool for a lot of these people to say, ooh, okay, so this is the car they used for John Wick. Nice, awesome, nice. I've never seen it. I produced it, but I've never seen the chase car with the winch or the crane on top and the camera at the end of it. Oh, that's how it's done. Very cool, right? And it took a while for the city to get used to it and for the word to get out. And then our second year, obviously the pandemic hit, and we said, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep that momentum going, which is a key word we've been talking about. Keep the momentum going. More people know about it. And it actually worked out even better because it was virtual. So if you were in Tokyo or if you were in Paris, you didn't have to fly in. You didn't have to pay for accommodation or your food or transportation. It was a single click of a button. You were there and you were good to go. Right? And you were able to stream it just in case two of them coincided and they happened at the same time. You could watch it at a later time. And people had a blast. And that's exactly what it's all about. You had a script. Our first year, we had 3 scripts picked up for 1.9 mil. 1.9, that's the first year, right? And when that word went out, people were like, what? Someone appreciates me, what I do as a writer? Sign me up. And it started rolling from there. So in a nutshell, that's the movie Expo.
Amazing. Do you have dates for 2022 yet, or you're still deciding whether it be virtual or hybrid?
Yeah, so we're probably going to stick with the virtual for now, at least for the time being. If anything were to change, that would be an add-on, and that would be an update that we would share in January, because right now still there's a lot of moving pieces. But so far, we're looking to have it at March the 20th, 22nd, within, it's going to be mid-March, we'll say, exactly like the last one that happened. We had a nice studio, so we teleported everyone out of their living rooms. We wanted to make it feel like you were really somewhere else. We had the green screens, the whole 9 yards. Very cool. We had speed dating or speed networking where you had 2 minutes. And funny enough, you told me to change my handle earlier. One of the guys figured that out, and he figured instead of wasting 30 seconds telling you my handle, it was just people started screenshotting everyone's handle. And then they're like, okay, now that I know, what is it that you do? Real quick, in 2 minutes, and they were booted back to a main room, and then they were randomly divided again into other rooms and so on and so forth. So it's really, really fun. We have mini pop-ups that come up as well throughout. They roll out every 3 to 5 months. So they're individual and they're themed, meaning one of them could be for writers, one of them could be for wardrobe, one of them could be for hair and makeup, one of them could be for stunts. And it just keeps rolling and keeps bringing it just one step closer to the main annual event, which will be in March.
Nice. Love it. Thank you for putting that on. It's a great event. And everyone in TV and film and as an actor has been to film festivals where it's screening and it's sort of all the polished final products, but to have something that looks at all aspects and all phases of movie making, you definitely you filled a gap there that really wasn't being filled. So thank you.
And you're very welcome. And I'm glad to have you as part of the family. And you were an awesome sponsor for us the second year as well. So thank you for being there for us and supporting us and pushing us to be that much better. But also, one of the things I wanted to put up there is the fact that for any actors and writers and filmmakers, whether they're currently working or new and up and coming, is try and diversify your portfolio, right? You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, which is the film festivals, because for me, this is a little piece of advice in a very non-biased way, is as a filmmaker or film creator myself, if I put everything into film festivals, a lot of the film festivals right now, they're kind of turbulent because a lot of the creators realized instead of going and getting my laurels and then going to get my stuff up on a network, now I can just cut that L shape and go directly to a streaming service and pitch them directly, right? So just a little pointer out there for anyone that's a creator. Film festivals are great. They're a great opportunity to schmooze and great opportunity to see your friends and support the projects, and perhaps network and get something huge out of it. But also check out the other things that are happening in the city, because we all know what happens when somebody doesn't adapt to the new technology or doesn't adapt fast enough, it could be a danger zone for them and they could go missing. They could be extinct. Blockbuster, right? So yeah. So just a little something out there, just from my heart, nothing malicious at all.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and we'll be sure to hook up a link to Movie Expo too, so that people can follow along and wait for those releases on the dates.
Yeah.
So moving right along, Taz, I want to know more about Zero to Hero.
Yes, Zero to Hero. I'm super excited about that book because I've had tons and tons and tons and tons of people of all ages, all walks of life, tell me, how do you get into action? Because action is one of those things that supersedes any language barrier. Sometimes I've done stand-up, you guys do stand-up, you guys do comedy, and sometimes if something is translated in another language than its native tongue, could lose the essence or the wittiness of the joke. Action is not like that. Action, you could understand it, period, right? And I break it down, just like I did with the first book. I break it down to the ABCs. This is why this will work in real life to protect your face, but it won't work because the camera can't see your face. So you got to cheat it a little low. Little things like that. I share little secrets from working with the Jackie Chan stunt team. And I also, aside from that, share a little secret that not many know of, is how I became known as the action guy, because my background is in comedy and drama. And then once upon a time, in the early 2000s, I was cast to be a Power Ranger. And everything's good. Everything's signed. Let's go. We're going to get toys made out of our faces and bodies and lights and all that kind of cool stuff. And then when I went there to get my visa on my passport, they said, we decided to recast you. They said, oh, what? And they're like, yeah, unfortunately, you're not black enough. And I said, what? I could get really dark. I could get as dark as this, right? It's the African in my blood. And I said, well, I mean, everything's signed. Everything's good to go. I've got the script. Everything's good. What do you mean? They're like, yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to move forward with somebody else. And I said, that's fine. But the casting director said, Taz, what I've seen in this room, what I've seen you perform physically today is something we haven't seen happen in Canada for a very long time, and probably won't happen for a very long time. So while you're still young, why don't you? We know you like your drama, we know you like your comedy, but you could always fall back on that when your body reaches a part and it can't push the way it does anymore. Why don't you milk the action for as long as you can, and then you can go and be a De Niro or Pacino or any Anthony Hopkins or anyone else you want after your action timeline comes to a close. And I said, oh, ding, and that's it. And ever since, I said, okay. And ever since that, people are like, oh, Taz, we've got a great script for you. It's action. I was like, anything else besides action? And then they're like, man, I really want to work with you, but I don't have an action script right now. I was like, hey, listen, I can cry and I can make you laugh and hello. And they're like, yeah, but it's not action. I was like, that's fine. So anyways, I talk about how I became, I went from one thing and converted into the action guy at the very beginning of it. And I share a lot of secrets that will make you look great on camera, have you reach a level that is camera ready, establish trust and rhythm and flow with partners as well, because most of the time you're not going to be just fighting yourself. And I also added a few little nuggets in there that you would have to buy the book to find out.
Do you have a release date?
Yes, so it's already on pre-order.
Gotcha.
Or on Amazon, and it's going to be released October the 4th, I believe. I could be.
Oh, nice.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's or the 10th. It's the second Monday in October, so I think that's the 10th or the 8th, something like that. Entire ridiculous. Where's my calendar? I think
it's the 11th. Pretty sure it's the 11th.
I think it might be the 13th. Well,
Somewhere around the 10th to the 13th, anywhere within that week.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you can go and get a copy right now. And like I said, it's great. And I'm super happy too, because there's so many females that I know that are friends or come to know that want to get into action, that want to become the next Captain Marvel or Black Widow or Nikita, or tons of stuff you could take from there and automatically, boom, everything you're going to be able to do unarmed, you could add a weapon and do with a weapon. So that's another beautiful thing is I teach you some of the stuff that are transferable. You could take it, the same technique you use for a swing to cheat a hook or modify a real hook. Now you can put a dagger, a beer bottle, a baseball bat. You could use the exact same technique with a weapon now. Yeah. Yeah.
Taz, I know you've trained and you teach a lot of disciplines. What are all that? Can you remind us the disciplines that you're familiar and or have a belt in or accreditation in?
Yes. So my foundation was in karate, and I have a black belt 4th dan in karate. And then I got into Taekwondo for about 6 months, nothing really serious. From there, I got into Greco wrestling and boxing. And then I got into Kung Fu because I came across somebody called Bruce Lee and somebody called Jackie Chan that I was like, oh, that's amazing. I want to do that. And I also dabbled in all the different styles, the cranes, the snake, the panthers, the tigers, the dragons. And then from there, fast forward, I ended up doing an Afro-Brazilian martial arts called capoeira and parkour gymnastics in between as well. So
amazing. So the
all,
bottom line is don't mess with Taz because he can kill you dead 100 different ways.
all in all, maybe 30 years of training.
Right. All with a smile on his face too. He'll knock you out and put you to the ground, all with those pearly whites.
Yes.
All right. What else we got here? BK?
Bring it.
Taz, is there a dream project that you aspire to create?
Ooh, yes. This is where we manifest things. We put it out to the podcast world, and then in as short as next week, it might come true.
There are 2 projects that I want to create. One of them is a Canadian co-production, and that would be a buddy cop movie, which we were actually greenlit for based on a short film back in 2015. So I really want to push that forward because the buddy cop genre is a proven formula. It's one of those things that we love, but this is a formula we haven't really seen before, or a twist we haven't seen before in the buddy cop genre, which is typically you've got the cool dude, nerdy dude, muscular dude, not very fit dude. And we just came up with an entirely never seen before formula in the buddy cop genre. So we're really excited about that. And really, that's one of the things I can't wait to make happen. And the second thing is, whether I'm behind the scenes and in front of the scenes or just in front of the scenes, is a superhero film or character. I think it's been one of those things that ever since I was a kid, I couldn't really relate to superheroes, but then as I grew up, I started to realize certain similarities in humanity. You know, we all have certain fears, we all have certain strengths. We could be aliens, not from a particular place, right? Something as simple as Superman. And we learn to adapt, and we learn that, you know, with you could have a certain power, but you don't go and abuse it. And that could translate to a job, that could translate to a physical power you have. And really, I think there would be an amazing message to inspire. That's one of the biggest things. You know, you see social media right now, there's tons of influencer, absolutely, right? But I think we also need a bunch of inspirers or people that are inspiration out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. More than ever right now, I think there's a lot of fear and anxiety and uncertainty in the world, and people need some leaders and some visionaries and some hopeful people and some people inspiring others. So yeah, that's what we're all about here. And that's the reason that you're on the podcast. Look up. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Tasman.
And then we have one more question for you. Sorry, Taz.
Here's a one little thing that I think we should add is a little whack, bam, pow. The old school Adam West style.
Shazam! Yeah, Adam West Batman. Oh
man, remember? Yeah.
Kapow! Kablamo!
Oh man, that was great.
Oh, I loved that show growing up. So Taz, we have one more question before we start wrapping this show up. And what advice would you give to your past artist self?
Don't take too long and don't listen to the noise. Don't take too long to get going, to get the wheels moving, to take action. And don't listen to anything or anyone else. And that often includes friends, very close friends, or even family. And listen to that little voice that's inside. That's the voice that's going to take you places. Because you're going to have a lot of people that could be phenomenal people, but it is very unknown territory for them. And it's just like 20 years ago. You couldn't tell anyone, hey, I work as an influencer or I work as a social media strategist. All this stuff was unheard of. So it's the equivalent when you were telling someone, hey, I'm going to be a film director, or hey, I'm going to be an actor, right? Most people will see that as yeah, it's cool. It's a pastime. It's a hobby. It's like drama class, right? Or going to school and having an assembly. It wasn't what the entire curriculum was. And really, you just got to listen to that voice and keep pushing and keep pushing. And they're going to ask you, you're crazy. Why? And then when you get there, they're going to ask you, wow, you're so lucky. How? Right? So that's all I can say is I've been there. I see a lot of people there. Take a chance on yourself because no one else is going to take that chance until you do. Stop the talking. Put your mouth where your foot is, your hands are. Take the action, make it happen, and let that be your calling card. Whatever it is, whether you want to be an actor, show them. You want to be a writer, write something. You want to be a filmmaker, shoot something. It's not about $100,000 camera quality. It's about the potential, right? When you shoot an audition, you could shoot it with a old school phone with black and white and 8-bit. And maybe I could still be able to see that you are genuinely talented or ready and raw. And I would take you on my roster, right? So it's not about the cameras. It's not about the bells and whistles. All this stuff is nice, but this is not how you show your potential, right? And now we've got our phones. We've got all this stuff. There's no excuses, right? And it's become a lot more normal, right? Up until 10 years ago when people are like, oh, so what do you do? When I was a teacher, it was super easy. What kind of teacher? Math, science, homeroom. It was easy. Doctor. What kind of doctor? This. Super easy. Actor. Like on YouTube? Right? Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
You're actors too. You're performers. Didn't you get that at least once? Like, is there any work I could see like on YouTube? On TikTok now? Right? And it's like this foreign language. You got to tell them, actually, hold on, actually, there's people that make a living off of this stuff. You know, this stuff you subscribe to and you watch people moving images, aka film. That's what we do. That's exactly what I do, right? And that's it. It's just super foreign to a lot of people, but it's good to see that now this area, if this was the gap, now it's a lot closer, right? And potentially a huge part of it is thanks to social media, right? Because it made it a lot more normal for people to be taking videos and pictures and directing people and telling them how to pose and how to look and where to look and when to move your hands and what, all that kind of cool stuff, right? So absolutely. So to cut it short, put the action to work. Use that as your calling card. You know, there's a few great friends of mine that always said, keep working hard until you no longer have to introduce yourself. And then when you go somewhere new, get ready to do it all over again. And that's ultimately what it is, right? So work hard, work smart, let the work do the talking for you, and listen to that little voice. Naysayers, people that won't believe, turn them to believe. And back to the very beginning of the conversation when you said there was a hater or a spammer or whatever it is, everybody will pity the weak. Jealousy is earned. Okay? So if you get haters, congratulations. You're going somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, I remember we celebrated our first Twitch troll. We had a Twitch troll a few weeks ago, and it was like, yeah, we're really getting out there. People on Twitch are trolling us. That's perfect. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I love what you said there, Taz. I think the bottom line, the message again to everyone is do. And if you're an actor, the root word of that is act, which is action. So it's you gotta create actions and start getting forward motion. We had a comment here, a listener comment, which I would echo. You mentioned listen to the voice inside you. A lot of people aren't so fortunate to have such a positive voice inside of you. So then you also got to be really aware not to listen to the negative voice that occasionally will talk you out of doing this kind of stuff. And there are a lot of people out there where the biggest thing, unfortunately, holding them back from success is the little voice inside their head that doesn't believe that they're worthy of it, or doesn't believe that they're capable, or that they have enough training, or whatever that voice might say. So again, be very discerning and edit some of those voices. Listen to the good voice. It's great. Thank you, Daniel.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And to add to Daniel's comment, we obviously have the yin and yang. We have the dark and the light side, right? But ultimately, when you've got this battle happening, remember why you started. And then this is where the key factor known as discipline and consistency will overrule or break and wither away. So you've got motivation. You'll watch something, you're going to hear something, you're going to, yeah, let's go. Come on. You see a lot of people and they'll listen to a track and they're like, I'm so pumped. Get a workout for the next 3 days. Yeah, let's go. Right. And then 4th day, I have to. 5th day, maybe tomorrow for sure. Okay, the weekend, for real, the weekend, right? So this is where the discipline and your consistency will overpower your motivation, because the motivation is going to lead you. They always say discipline and consistency. This is what's going to stay when motivation goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Taz spitting fire here. What a treat. We should start charging admission to these podcasts.
Yes.
So what we like to do to end off every show is what we like to do.
It doesn't matter what you like to do. No.
Taz is going in the green room again. What we like to do to end off this show is have a quote to inspire our week. And so today's quote is, great leaders don't set out to be a leader. They set out to make a difference. It's never about the role, always about the goal. And I think this is perfect for today because we have you, Taz, who has created so much and being such on the forefront of knowing who is behind the scenes and knowing who's at the forefront of everything. And that is 100% inspiring to me, and I think all of our viewers today. And it's also poignant because we do have a Canadian election today. And being a leader is something that is incredibly important, and especially important today because I don't think we have as many as we need to. And so the more that we strive to be the leader in circumstances today, the more the world will open up to us, the more that things will be a little easier because we're willing to help each other at our lowest. And that's so important in today's society. And we can't forget that even when someone is at their lowest and we're at our highest, we can still reach down and lend a hand because that's what we need to do always.
Love it. Love it.
You're getting snaps for that, BK. You're getting snaps. There you go.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. All righty. Well, thank you, Taz, for being here. Say again.
It was my bootleg. It was my bootleg audience. Just
the stockpile audience. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being our first repeat guest, Taz. Love having you here. Thanks to all the listeners and viewers. Make sure to follow us on the podcast platforms hit us up at laughingvikings.com for audition sessions or for Comedy Alley tickets. And once again, Taz, thank you for being here. Really, truly, we love you. You're such an inspiration to the community. Your social media is always so positive, and you've always got so much going on. I'm really grateful to be able to call you a friend and to have you in my community and circle. And they always say that you're sort of the average of the people that you hang around with. So I just feel the more I hang around with you and the more I'm influenced by you, the more impacted and the better my life becomes. So thank you for sharing that part of yourself with everyone that you do.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I love you both. Love your energy. And we're going to do those burgers soon, 100%. Yeah. But there's one last thing I got to ask from you before I get out of here. You ready for it?
Here we go.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So actually 2 things. The number 1 thing is you both got to come up with a short scene and let's shoot it. Let's actually make it happen. And number 2 is don't forget to leave a review for my first book. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed it, but while we're on the topic of the book, anyone that's tuned in today and you have their contacts or you can track that somehow, some way, I'm going to give you a little coupon or create one or figure something out for a discount for 5 discounts off the new book that I'm going to be releasing in the next few weeks.
Amazing. So probably the easiest way to do that is if you want to get your hands on From No to Woe Budget, then shoot us a DM and we will share that promo code with you. Hit us up at laughingvikings.com, at laughingvikings on Instagram, or you can hit up. Oh, it's right there. Yeah, he's pointing to it. Good work. Yeah, I knew there was a reason we did that stuff. I see it. But some people are listening to this right now, so nobody can hear your finger pointing at that. So
I know that's why I do it.
We're covering our bases here. Yeah. So thank you. This has been episode 51. This is episode 1 of season 2, and we'll be back as we are every single Monday.
And to finish things up, careers are made of close-ups. So everyone, get in close, and make your funniest face possible. Goodbye.